Have you ever confronted a narcissist with the truth, calmly, logically, and respectfully, only to be met with explosive rage, denial, blame shifting, or the silent treatment? You probably left the conversation wondering, what in the hell just happened, and why on earth did they react as if your words were a direct threat to their survival? In today's video, we are going to explore two powerful psychological forces that drive this behavior. And those are alloplastic defense mechanisms, which is the need to blame others or external factors instead of facing inner pain, and the paranoid schizoid core, which is an infantile psychic split that leaves the narcissist emotionally frozen in time. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why narcissists lash out the way they do, but also why it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what they cannot face in themselves. But first, if you're new to this channel, I'd like to take a moment and welcome you and invite you to please subscribe and be sure and hit that notification bell because I put out new videos every week. Also, if you are interested in private one-on-one narcissistic abuse recovery coaching sessions with me, please visit my website. It is linked in the description below. So today we are talking about two of the main reasons narcissists do not ever self-reflect, accept accountability, and blame everyone else for everything that goes wrong. And we are going to start by explaining something called alloplastic defense mechanisms. These are a type of psychological defenses where a person attempts to manage internal conflict or emotional distress by changing the external environment rather than adapting their internal self, which is known as autoplastic defenses. And that is where most people operate from, meaning they alter their internal thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to cope. Pathological narcissists rely heavily on alloplastic defenses, which are unconscious strategies they use to cope with internal conflict by altering or blaming the outside world. Think of it as psychological finger pointing. So rather than say, maybe I was wrong, the narcissist says, you made me act that way. This is your fault. Or if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have done this. This is their way of protecting the fragile image they have of themselves, because their ego, the false self that they created a long time ago in their own mind that they want to believe is so perfect, special, and superior, cannot tolerate imperfection. Therefore, they outsource blame. They twist facts. They change the narrative. They manipulate, gaslight, and scapegoat because changing the story is easier than facing their own reflection. So why is this so intense in narcissists? Because underneath the charm, the confidence, the arrogance is a fragmented self-image built on fantasy. And fantasy cannot survive reality. If they were to take accountability, even once, it would cause the entire false self to collapse. So instead of changing themselves, which would require maturity, humility, and emotional strength, they attempt to change the world around them. That's why they twist conversations into pretzels, turn every confrontation into an attack, and rewrite history so they come out looking like the hero or the victim or the martyr. Alloplastic defenses essentially lets them avoid feeling any shame, except unfortunately, the shame doesn't disappear. It just gets dumped onto you. Now let's go a little deeper. What if I told you the narcissist isn't just deflecting responsibility out of habit, but because they are emotionally stuck in an infantile developmental stage? Because for pathological narcissists, this is exactly what is happening. According to object relations theory, many narcissists remain psychologically trapped in what's called the paranoid schizoid position. This is a very early stage of ego development where the world is split into extremes. You're either all good or all bad. You're either their savior or their enemy. This is the level of emotional development they're operating from, despite being in an adult body. When you speak the truth, hold a boundary, or offer constructive feedback, you activate that core wound. And to that wounded inner child, you've just gone from nurturing caregiver to mortal threat. That's one of the reasons why narcissists snap and go into narcissistic rage when confronted. To them, it feels like annihilation. You are not just criticizing them, you are attacking their very right to exist. When this paranoid schizoid split is activated, this infantile core of theirs, where they only see things as all good or all bad, the narcissist's primitive defenses go up and into overdrive, and many times they will go into a narcissistic rage, which can look like yelling and screaming, threats, intimidation tactics, accusations, calculated revenge. They become emotionally violent. Narcissistic rages are terrifying to endure, truly terrifying. But here's what you need to understand. The rage is not about you. Even though everything coming out of their mouths right now is about you and what a horrible, terrible, awful person you are, this is not actually about you. What's really about is protecting the false self from collapse. It's about destroying the threat, you, before you can reveal what they are desperate to hide. Rage is the firewall between their fragile, fragile ego and the unbearable truth. So now that we understand this a little better, what can you do? You cannot heal a narcissist. You cannot logic them out of a delusion or love them into accountability. They have built a psychological fortress designed to never let the truth in. And as long as you are fighting for the integrity of the actual truth, you will be the enemy in their mind, period. But what you can do for yourself is recognize the pattern. Absolutely refuse to internalize their projections and step out of the role they've cast you in. Healing begins when you stop trying to fix what broke them and you start protecting what's left of you. What you have to finally understand is that for pathological narcissists, they are living in a delusion and they are not interested in living in reality. There truly is no hope that this will change. However, you can change and you can heal and you can grow. Thank God. So while there's no hope that the narcissist will change, your future is full of hope and your life can grow in beautiful ways. But you have to focus on what you can control. And that means taking your focus off of the narcissist and back onto you and your well-being and your healing. Okay, that's going to do it for today's video. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, I'm Jill Wise, reminding you that their rage is not your responsibility and your truth is not up for debate. Stay strong, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.